If you hang around with us too much, you know you'll get that dog.
I didn't quite yet, but I was
We don't plow them, right? We don't maintain them.
With papers. I do.
Yes, paper.
Here's your agenda, and this is the LD 672.
Thank you.
Hi, Jerry.
Mary, how are you?
How are you?
Yeah. No, that's, oh, sure, I don't care. 6 feet of Joe. I'm
rejected. Yeah, I'm sure you are.
I've been in the United States when I speak to you. I felt like I got it before, but it was most wonderful feeling, wasn't it? Well, no, it's making us the most wonderful feeling. I have no trouble with discovering what it was. I did think it.
I'll give you guys an agenda. You good? You guys are for the fun.
I think I probably left mine in the car because I don't have it in my pocket.
You ready down now?
Yes, I've got 2 people on here, so as soon as they show their faces, I'll turn this around so they can see what's going on.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is to review and approve April 20th, 2021 minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as well.
Second?
No, I think there needs to be an amendment to them. There's, here in the issue about the Pantherville Pines request, says the deed that Paul Anderson had references Pantherville Pines to the town road. I've read the deed, it doesn't say that, and it's not a town road.
He stated that it did, so I didn't see the deed myself, so.
I see. So, but I would recommend that that sentence be stricken, and then it's good to go.
You, second that, okay, I'll approve the special, minutes.
All right?
Okay?
Yep. You can sign it when it's.
I think they can hear that.
Alrighty. Review and approve May 14th, 2021 warrant. Yeah, just chance to look over.
I do that they approved.
That's okay.
All in favor?
Who did you host us in last year?
Well, actually, last year we didn't have it done.
Right, yeah.
Last year we didn't have it done.
And the year before
The year
that?
before, same last year.
Just
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright. Okay, we have Mrs. Bennett from LB 672. Evening, sir.
Thank you.
So, what you got? You want to build a walking path up to the old railroad bed.
Well, so, just so everybody knows who I am, I'm Rick Bennett. I represent the neighboring district in the state senate, Hiram, Porter, Freiburg. Years ago, I served in the state senate and I used to represent Baldwin. Unhappily, they redistricted, so no longer. But I, you know, I put in the bill to the legislature, LD 672. Many of you have copies of it, and it calls for a study to determine, you know, whether it makes sense to put in a trail, essentially extend the trail that exists in Gorham and Freiburg, so that we could have a trail that would effectively allow people to enjoy Western Maine by going all the way from Portland to the New Hampshire line. This asset, the Mountain Division line, has been in state custody now for about 40 years, and it's just been a wasting asset. And if you go out on it, you know, the ties need to be replaced. I mean, it cannot operate as a railroad in its current condition. And you know, whenever you get involved with wondering whether maybe you should convert a railroad to a trail or all that, it's always, everybody's got an opinion, and it's a good discussion to have. The question is, you know, that this is just rotting away. It could be a huge boon, in my view, to the economy of Western Maine, to give people the opportunity to get outside and enjoy. And you know, all along the Mountain Division line, people have been building great recreational resources, like up on Mount Cutler with the trails there, down at the foot of Sebago, there's a whole trail network around there. Down in Gorham there is. And I'm of the view that we should at least step back and, rather than just spend another 40 years like having this rot away, to ask the question, you know, what should we do with this rail trail system? And so this is the first step. It's like, what are the benefits of doing this? What are the costs? What would be involved with doing this? And I just, And so what I've been doing is, this bill is going to the Transportation Committee of the Legislature sometime in the near future, probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I've been, going to each of the towns along the route and making them aware of the bill, getting input, and asking for a letter of support from each of the towns to do the study. You know, and that's what the request is. I'd like to ask of all of you and the people of Baldwin is, can we just like put the question, right? That's the idea. Put the question and assemble information in a sensible way, and then come back and then make a decision about what to do with this great asset.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wasting away, and it's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
So, happy to answer any questions.
We put it out on our Facebook page. It was kind of a survey type of thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Everything came back as positive to do it. Go ahead and do it. We had one concern that it's going to open up people's backyards. So security is going to be a big thing. And another thing is ATV trails. How will that affect that? Because a big ATV trail was behind the whistle stop, goes down the railroad track, and that's a big money maker for the whistle stop.
Right.
So that's another concern for me too. But most of it's been positive.
Yeah, and I have to say, I mean, the places where the trail exists, like further down and out in Freiburg, they love it. I mean, and the property owners around it love it because they've got access to this trail. And right now, it's like a little bit of a dingy railroad that people aren't even supposed to be on. And you know, I would say you're probably safer. It's more, I understand people have their concerns about their property, but I would think it enhances property values because to have that close by as a resource, and having it maintained and cared for, I think would make it a safe place. And then with respect to ATVs, yeah, I mean the ATVs use all around this trail and this current line, and I don't know specifically what would come out of the study, honestly, but I think that's a decision to be made if it's decided to convert it. I would personally see that it makes sense to at least on like the sides of it where possible to allow an ATV path, particularly to get from one interesting point to another.
Yeah.
And I think that would make sense.
And it's one thing that keep in mind when you're doing the study that'll be the topic to talk about.
There'll be a lot to talk about. Snowmobile using too, and all of that. I mean, all of that should be considered, and we should have a big conversation about it. And unfortunately, often we don't step back and think about these things. And so I just put the bill in so that we can step back and everybody can have a conversation. That's the idea.
Okay. You guys got anything?
Well, one thing that I see is, in Wyndham, you've got a police department. In Gorham, you've got a police department. Freiburg, you've got a police department. You've got somebody watching it. Standish does not have a police department. They've got the warden service and they've got the sheriff's department, just like what we do here. The same as Hiram, the same as Brownfield. So my feeling would be, who's going to watch this? I own 1,400 feet on either side of the rails down the back of the house. So I know someone is near what I'm talking about here and stuff, There is some traffic down there we'd rather not have.
Fair point.
I can give you my experience of living beside a trail. This was in Virginia. The county came and put in a walking trail bump through an area behind our house. And very quickly, my front yard became the place to park as you walk through my yard to get to the trail. And, people within feet of your house, and no respect. So I understand those type of sensitivities, but I do think that we ought to study it, see if there's ways to control access to it and make it available. I used to be a runner, and I used to like to have nice flat places to run, and jumping over railroad ties and whatnot. So I think we've drafted up a letter of endorsement.
Yep.
And I move that we sign it tonight.
Yeah, I second it. Does anybody else in the audience?
I have a question. Up in Freiburg, which I drive by a couple times a week, they have fences along certain parts of it. Is that gonna happen everywhere?
Well, again, would be something to consider for like access in particular and like places to park, like actual entrances, which down in Gorham they do, and in Freiburg there's plenty of parking areas, and I would think definitely that would be.
It would be nice to protect the people that don't want people
Right.
on their property.
Absolutely.
So that should all come out of the study.
It should.
Yes.
Hi there, I'm Sherry Brunel, I'm here in town on Senator Black Road, actually with Aaron Dunning, retained by Ms. Dunning family. I just wanted to speak to trail safety briefly. I have about going on 7 years experience with working with land trusts, mostly doing trail building and maintenance. Now I'm the executive director of the Three Rivers Land Trust down in Stanford. And the answer to misbehavior on trails generally has always been to get more people to that particular trail. The more people that are actually traversing a space, you know, the more secure it becomes, because you don't have people just lingering, knowing that they'll be out of sight. And so my thought is that if there's already a trail there, which there is in a lot of places, the ATV track, people will be walking it, walking with their dogs, but if it's a actual paved trail, I think a lot more people would be using it. You'd have more security, not less. That's from my professional experience. That's what you do with problem trails, you try to get more people to it.
They kind of police themselves.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And if there's appropriate signage telling people where to park, what to do, that can be very helpful. I would look for that in a feasibility study to make sure that signage is accounted for. But I do think that overall security won't be a massive concern. Of course, I don't know all the neighbors down the way. I can certainly look into that more. Secondly, I just wanted to clarify one point about the surface of the trail. So as I understand it, they would take up the rails and leaving the bed, the rail bed,
Yeah.
they take up the rails and pave that section. So the ATVs are running beside that right now.
Mm-hmm.
No reason why they couldn't continue doing that
Okay.
while the surface of the rails, where the rails were, is paved.
Yeah.
So there may not be a conflict.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Joe?
I have some questions. First, I'd like to say something to reply to you, Sherry. By the way, we're neighbors.
All right.
And that is that ATVs have been undermining the tracks, and they might do the same to paving by running alongside. I guess I would be concerned, it's wonderful the state come in and pay for this thing. Who maintains it?
Yeah.
I've been sitting here, come to many meetings, and many times I hear people come in and complain that their house is inaccessible in the winter, in mud season. We have lots of roads in town that aren't paved, or enough roads to take up these gentlemen's time. So it's strange to me to make a walking path when we've got people who have trouble getting back and forth to work. I don't have an answer, and then, I own maybe about a mile plus or minus on either side of the railroad track. And, I'm not objecting, I think it's a wonderful thing. I was just down in Gorham today and I saw a lot of use on the track there. But if I have problems, who pays to solve those problems? I see I've got a Woods Road that crosses the tracks. At minimum, I'm gonna have to put up bars on either side. Because I find, the ATV people have not done what the snowmobile people have done in forming clubs and bringing their standards up in terms of policing each other. And so I have a problem with ATVs making a U-shaped gully fairly, fairly quickly, within a year or two, if I don't do something about it, so. Would there be any help for me? I'm getting older, maintaining bars is not gonna be fun in 5 years. I don't know, just something to consider.
Yeah.
That's all, those two things concern me.
Yeah, those are great concerns, and we really, I mean, this is why I think we need the conversation. I don't think we should just go do it, because, and I think, making sure that your situation is accommodated is really important. I also think that ongoing maintenance question is important. So the idea would be that this isn't gonna be given away to some third party. The state would continue to own it. And part of that is a requirement, because it's a railroad, and there's a national rail bank law that requires, when a railroad is there, you always have to protect, I'm oversimplifying, but you have to protect the asset so that at some point, there's always a possibility of bringing back a railroad. So it's called the rail bank or something like that. So the state would continue to own it. The state, I know I've talked to the DOT and the commissioner about this, and one of their questions is, first is like local support. Then secondly is the question of, will there be any help locally in helping maintain it? I think, and there's different ways of tackling that, right? I mean, it can be municipal, it can be a group like yours, Terry, it can be, friends of kind of approach, and because there would be some mowing and things like that. It'd also be, after a storm and there's some trees down, you need some volunteers or some group that would take responsibility for that kind of maintenance, which is really, it's not a heavy maintenance, but there is maintenance cost. And I think improving, any improvements, any capital improvements going forward, the state would do it because it's a state asset. But the routine maintenance, I think, is a question that, maybe the DOT can do some of it, maybe we could organize some a support group of friends of the trail, which is done in a lot of places. But it's a great question, thinking ahead about, like, okay, then what? Right.
Some of this you've already got in place. There's some remember the little putt-putt cars that do maintenance? Mm-hmm. Like I see them every now and then, they'll come down, I'll hear them in the rails down the back of the house. So I'll get down to steep falls and I'll stop down there, and there'll be 15 to 20 of them there. They've got their chainsaws, they've got their brush cutters and stuff. They're doing that for you now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another group that, by the time the state acts on this, probably most of these people will be out of the business anyway.
Well, it's a great point. In smaller towns that don't have the police department, don't have necessarily a big rec department even, like Baldwin and there's a couple others here, it makes sense to really make sure you know what you're getting into this, and I respect that entirely.
Yeah.
Right, just, to clarify, I do work for a land trust, but the land trust that I work for doesn't cover this area. So I'm not, here in a business capacity. As an interested resident of Baldwin, I'd love to see a trail like this, get my bike out there, go running. I really think that it would be a fantastic asset for people who live here, and that's why I want to come tonight.
Any more discussion?
Just a little one.
Okay.
I love to rollerblade, and I really haven't done a lot of it since I moved to Baldwin, and it's been almost 9 years.
Yeah.
So, I used to do the trails down when my daughter was at Smith College. I used to be down on the trails that go between, Amherst and Northampton all the time. And they were wonderful. And it was everybody that I met, except for the kid that blew the horn behind me and gave me black and blues all over the place. But everybody I met was just wonderful. And there were kids that were selling lemonade. Yeah, it was fun. And that's been established and going now for, oh my God, decades.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd be excited.
Yeah. Yeah, Kathy?
How does this get funded and who does the research?
This would be done by the state, is the DOT, which is it.
Okay.
And you know, technically, we don't need town approvals, but what I'm trying to show them is that there's a lot of support for looking at this, so they'll invest the time and the money to do it. So they'll do it over a period of 6 to 9 months, and hopefully come back to the next session of the legislature with a recommendation and a plan. So during that period, there'd be an opportunity for public input and working on a lot of these questions.
Anybody else?
I'd like to inject just one thing, and I'm sure it will come out in the study. I know both Freiburg and the Gorham one, and I have never seen ATV on it. I have seen bicycles, which is fine, I've seen horses on it, which is fine, but I've never seen an ATV on the side trail. Because he's the paved side trail.
Right, and there you have the rail and the trail next to it, so there really isn't any room for that. And one of the reasons not to do that necessarily coming up this way is, number one, the rail isn't in condition to use anyway. And secondly, there are a few areas where this is a really spectacular asset because of these features, but there's causeways, you know, going across ponds. There's the area next to Sebago Lake. He goes across some wetlands. You could never build anything like this now. Because of the rules. But the sheer beauty of this region, when you travel on that route, and the uniqueness of it, and being off-road and away from cars, you know, when you want to go rollerblading and bicycling and the safety that, I think people are going to love this. I think they're going to use it, and I think it's going to be one of the greatest gems of the state of Maine, honestly.
Probably the water district won't let you on their land, because they're not now.
They're very careful about it. They feel better about it. As you know, they allow fishing down in Sebago Village, and so I think with care and some fencing and all of that, they'll be okay.
Yeah, I guess I've never seen the.
They got gates down there now.
Yeah, they get
Where
gates
they
there,
set it in the
but they
yard.
won't let you up through there.
No, down by the station and stuff, where the soul siding is and stuff.
That's all I gotta say, and I'm sure it'll come out in the study, I'm sure.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the whole point. So.
You had a question?
And we're the group that's been working on this project since the 90s. I had trouble hearing most of what's been going on tonight, but I didn't know if you had any questions for me, and then I can add some things but I don't want to repeat anything that's already been said.
Right, he's from the Mountain Division?
Yeah, that's David Kinsman. He's the president and volunteer president of the Mountain Division Alliance, who's been promoting a trail use of this for a very long time now. And he lives in Lovell.
Lovell, well. Any more questions?
Were there studies done on the previous spots by Freiburg?
I don't think so. I don't know how they actually came about. It's just kind of a patchwork quilt thing. And I know that there's an effort now to look at doing a rail and trail kind of combination from Wyndham south into Portland. And I don't know though about how those came about. I think they were just local ideas. Like a lot of the trail systems pop up, but somebody found some funding for them somewhere, and they put in 9 miles of trail. And that's out of 54 miles. So it's on its way already, and it would be nice to finish it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good question. I'm going to look into that now that you asked.
Yeah, I'd be curious if you could find anything. Thank you.
There's no rail from Wyndham into Portland now, right?
There is.
Blank spot, isn't there?
Yeah, some ways there is.
They pulled up the road.
There
Yeah,
is.
they pulled the rail up, took the rig to yard, right down small.
There's 4 miles, I think, of rail on the Mountain Division line that isn't owned by the state, and it's down in Westbrook. But Pan Am, who owns that, is just sold all of their assets in Maine.
To CSX.
Yes, and there is some question about maybe acquiring that section for the state so that the state owns the entire line.
That would make sense.
It is, but it's all in negotiation and whatnot, so I don't know what.
I'm not sure what my question is exactly. I'm thinking about rights of way that begin on one side of the tracks and end on the other side of the tracks. Different properties that would be influenced by changing access to rights of way and stuff like that. The legal and liability stuff around issues like that, who takes care of that, state of Maine?
Yeah, I don't think any of that should change. The ownership of the land and any rights of way would continue as they are. It's just the use of the property by the state would change.
I think maybe Glenda has the same kind of problem I do in that I don't have a right of way across that railroad track. I have a permission going back into the 60s and a deed that says I have the right to drive cattle across.
Got it. Okay.
You know, I don't keep cattle, but maybe I have to if I keep this right of way going.
That's great,
I mean,
okay.
So I just, like, there are issues like this.
Yeah.
We're out in the willy wags, we're not Gorham where there's, you know, I mean, I saw a lot of activity, but I saw, you know, even more houses than people. That's how I was looking at the trail.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, consideration to be given to those of us out here without that population. The landowners will be impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll want to learn about these situations because, yeah, I mean, my district is all like small towns, like Baldwin, it's Hiram and Porter and Brownfield and Denmark and places like that, so.
I'm theoretically in favor of the project. I think it could be a wonderful thing, but I just have concerns as we go forward.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Matt.
Keep in touch with me.
Thank you.
I know this was talked about some, but I just would like to get a little bit more clarification on this idea of a multi-use trail, because it says including outdoor recreation such as biking, walking, running, snowmobiling, and Nordic skiing. Now, you know, biking, walking, running, and Nordic skiing are all non-motorized. The addition of snowmobiles on a trail where people are Nordic skiing or winter biking or walking or running creates some cognitive dissonance for me. So one thing I would want to see come out of this report is a very clear delineation of the compatibility of ATVs and snowmobiles or any kind of motorized vehicle on the trail in combination with all of this quadricep oriented activity. It smacks of problems to me. I mean, people get killed every year in Maine multiple times on ATVs and snowmobiles on trails because they've been drinking or not drinking and going too fast. Right. And when you combine that kind of history and those facts with a trail that is meant for more people to be on non-motorized, it makes me worry. So what are your thoughts on that, and how is the study going to address that issue?
Yeah, I mean, what I would hope is that they look at other trail systems there's plenty around the world, I mean, that have different models. And I would think that the best way to do that is to learn from the experience of others that are in a like situation, you know, and maybe there are decisions made that are regretted now, maybe that there are things that are working well, and there's some ways of accommodating multiple uses. Maybe in certain conditions, in certain places, it works, maybe it doesn't. So I do think that the key here is to look at other trails like this that have been built and learn from them. I get your point.
It's just something that when the report comes out, will be interesting to see what the recommendation is and whether they've considered the impact of this possible coexistence of motorized stuff with.
Yeah.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
The two sections that are completed now, do allow snowmobiles in the wintertime, when there's enough snow. And, there haven't been any problems with snowmobile clubs, monitor when the trails should be shut down, because of lack of snow, and it has worked out. Most trails that use, government funds have not allowed snowmobiles, but in the, northern New England, that's a different story.
Okay. Any more questions, concerns? Hearing none, well, it's been moved and seconded. So, all in favor? Selectman Porter?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Oh, well, thank you all. I mean, it's great. And I'll leave my contact information with Danielle, and, I have some cards, and happy to give out what I have, but if anybody wants to be presented me on this.
Oh, you sent it. Yeah, definitely not.
I'm looking hard, I hope.
Thank you. Really?
We'll have that to you in just a minute. We have to make a change on it. The name of the previous one, so on.
Oh, okay. I think I saw a picture of you getting your hair cut in some newspaper.
Oh, you did?
Did I?
Yeah.
I love that story.
My dad, yeah. Yeah.
A long time before that. A lot of wrinkles. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness and your support.
We appreciate you coming tonight.
Yeah, this has got to be a great community enterprise. It's not going to work at all.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I'm looking for my name.
And I'm going to see you on those.
She will. Honestly, you can just come right through, you can just breathe. I can almost close your eyes and watch the world.
Sunlight coming around the corner.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. No, it's great fun.
I don't know if I saved one for Danielle. I'm going to go out in my car. I got a few more of my
Okay.
other ones. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Have any of these trails been done without cement, if it were soft or paving?
All right, next thing on the agenda is fire chief appointment and specificity. You guys ready for that?
Not really, but we have a choice.
Did you guys have another election, or did you just all agree on?
I believe they voted, it was all about an election.
The election, they voted on it. Okay, so, I hear a motion to appoint Bruce Crawford as town chief and Owen Sprague as assistant chief.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? You're hoping we would.
I tried to talk Bob into it, as I'm driving.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not nice. She just called you a Mickey Mouse fire chief.
Hey, I'm glad for that. I am glad for that.
I love Mickey Mouse, so I was kind of intrigued when you came in with that shirt on.
It's one in front of the clerk.
Yeah, you got that,
That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you said that.
I had some sleep.
Motion to do it now?
Yep. Yeah. We'll go over there, yeah.
Good luck with it, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much.
I thought you were gonna jump to the sword.
Take care. A sword on fire, right?
Yeah.
All right, next thing is cemetery review. What's all about that over? So we have two guys doing cemeteries.
They came to my house today.
They did?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I used to do cemeteries with
that's right too.
Paul, and he wanted me to help him find a couple, and I wasn't very successful. So I did help him a little.
I was asking him, it's been a while since he's done it. I said, you sure you're gonna find them all? Yep, I'll find them all. Bruce was saying that there's one out here, next to the field out here. Yeah, he said
I didn't know that one.
I didn't know either. Huh.
I don't know what that. When I taught here in the fifth grade, I used to take the kids, 3 years in a row, I took the kids to cemeteries, one at a time. I would never do that now, and probably wouldn't be allowed to.
Right.
But, because I have a little Miata.
Yeah.
So I would come in the fall and the spring, I would come to school on like a Friday or a Saturday. I picked up sometimes a Saturday, we'd go off and we'd do the cemetery. We'd do all the names of the people, and epitaphs and things. We did a map of the cemeteries.
I think we still have that now.
Yeah, I did it, actually I won a grant to get, a computer and a GPS and everything, and I gave it to the historical society, so they still have it.
I think they still do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, I guess they got all the flags out on the Veterans Day. And then now they've got some maintenance work to do.
I think one thing that Debbie's thrown some light here, we didn't appropriate the money. Those two other people, we're gonna run out of money here before we get going here. Then, in the town meeting last year, we cut the budget by $1,000.
So we got 9,000, right?
Yep. So we're gonna have to watch this awful
Yeah,
close.
we used to be able to do it 9,000 for the summer.
Well, last year it cost us $6,600 just to mow the cemetery, say nothing about doing anything else.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll have to stay on top of it. We might have to cut this off a little late,
Yeah.
if we get too close to
You
it.
think towards, July, August, where, if you get into a drought, the grass doesn't grow, it's like, up here and cotton. Usually slows down by then.
Thank you.
It looks like we've actually got 3 people working it, right?
Right.
Somebody working for Brian.
Yeah, he's doing the big one, because those, like the West Baldwin one, this one, and North Baldwin, they take a good week to do,
Yeah.
by one person. You've been on the West Walking one before,
Yeah, know that one.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, Olin and I know that one.
Yeah. And the other two are doing all the small ones in the woods and outskirts and stuff.
Okay.
Sam Pond meeting update, we had a meeting, Sam Pond committee last night, and we requested picnic tables for the, two more picnic tables?
2 6-footers.
2 6-footers. He said that, people have hardware.
Steve Paul's Build Supply usually has them retired. Yes.
Do you wanna get Danielle the water too, or the price one?
I think we ought to get a price out, see how much they're gonna be. And we need a couple bags of quick cement and some chains and stuff to chain them, because we know they're gonna walk off.
Right.
Then we're gonna have to set up a time where we can receive them and put them in place and.
And go down.
Yeah. We gotta do that all before the, what was it, the 27th?
Yeah.
I'm willing to go pick them up for you.
Are you ready?
Yeah, all right, I got an 8-foot bed in the truck.
Yeah, I'm on the last of 8-foot beds, huh?
I delivered the ones to the library, I bought those down there.
Okay,
You get those at Steve Paul's Build Supply?
Yeah.
so how much will they do?
I think they were 139,
How long ago?
last summer.
Oh, was it?
And
Oh,
she painted them with preservatives.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
She's got an emblem on one.
Put the name on the top,
Yeah.
Brown Memorial Library.
Yeah.
If you steal it, you'll know.
That's a good idea, though. Brandon probably.
Yeah.
You wanna get prices on them and? We'll probably order them, get prices on for now.
You want me to order the stickers now?
Yeah,
What color?
take your pick.
Something
Something bright, maybe like a lime green or something. Yeah, that's one thing. That's what it is.
Did you get another price on trash pickup?
They never called me back today.
So we're waiting on that.
I'll call them again, who's supposed to call me? I did, order the porta potties, just the ball one's coming ASAP, the other one's gonna be the week before Memorial, and that price has not changed at all, it's $90 a month.
That's good. The buoys, we shouldn't have to spend no money on buoys. The water test, did you order the water test?
I will.
Yeah. And I see the sheriff got a hold of you on the all-night parking down there.
Yep, and I guess they're gonna take great care of it and see what's going on.
Yeah, she said he's gonna make 2 stops a night down there.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, we have a contact with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office now, and he's very responsive. So, he did have a question, he would like to come to a Selectmen's meeting, and I'm not sure when you guys if you wanna do that.
Next meeting?
Do you wanna do the next meeting,
Oh,
or do you want me to workshop?
A workshop, it's on next workshop, it's due time.
I'll see availability.
Yeah. No, that'd be great.
He is working, in different areas, he said. There's a lot of unidentified, unmarked cars that you might not be aware of that are in the area, so I guess they are paying attention.
Really?
If there's a K5 Blazer, a new one that goes through here that's unmarked.
So,
Better watch myself, lady.
Steve Falls Village, I'm having trouble with Steve Falls right now. I see the speed limit thing is down there.
Yeah.
So watch the library.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else in San Juan? We went over a lot of topics last night, the fast, we got the water party ordered.
You gotta get them stickers so we can start selling them.
Stickers, yeah. How long do they usually get here?
I don't know, I'll call Cardinal tomorrow.
Yeah.
How are we on signage?
Ben was gonna look into more signs. We want some more, no parking, no overnight parking,
No parking past 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, yeah.
The sign already says that.
Is it past night, cause that was what, question the sheriff had.
Yeah, I know it is, and it says right on the sign,
9.
number one, that is,
It
the
says,
beach closes at 9.
Okay.
yeah. They were thinking that, about the parking lot.
Yeah, it was.
The beach is closed, but what about the parking lot? Parking lot should be closed too, yeah, Ben was gonna look into more guidance for.
We gotta put some more no parking signs up along the sides of the beach. Cause they're parking there, then you have to drive around, and
Yeah.
that's not good.
Do you want hardware signs, or do you want like signs that, white signs,
I think the hardware signs are probably more durable. The one you put up, it says no hunting last year, I mean, that's still in.
Yeah.
I think we ought to tape them to the tree instead of nailing them and stuff, so.
Does someone wanna pick those up, or do you want me to go to the hardware store?
Well, if you're coming right by it or something.
I can, yep.
Yeah.
How many do you want?
I'd say 4.
At least 4, yeah.
No parking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see, big girl of purchases for road salt.
Who has this? I only have 2 copies. We put our name in for, salt. This is the result we got, and I put the price on what we paid last year, and it lists Baldwin at that price. We have a deadline to respond, we have to get 75%, I think it says, of our salt to them. Do we wanna go with Southern Maine Planning, or do we wanna go with us? I don't have a price for Southern Maine Planning yet.
We paid $6 a ton less
Yep.
last year, you know,
That's
than
Morton's price, and we, the low bid for Southern Maine was east and south. Morton was higher, so I just wanted to make sure.
Well, last year we paid $53.53 a ton for salt delivered. Now this year they want $59.32.
But that's a completely different group.
Yeah.
So,
Well, last year we went to council of governments, didn't we?
Southern Maine Planning,
Oh, it was Southern Maine, yeah. How long do we have to do before we sign on to this?
this is May 18th or something like that.
2 weeks.
May 17th deadline.
Yeah.
I'd call Southern Maine Planner just to see what we got, if they can give us any idea.
Okay.
$6 a ton increase is a lot. Yeah. Supply demand is a big deal here.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, last year, we had a pretty easy winter. You think they'd have, somebody would have an abundance of it, and.
That kept the price down a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I guess it was the year before I retired. Europe was having such a bad winter, and we was losing 2 ships every 3 that was going to Europe, so they could rub salt over there.
Yeah.
That'd be a low price right now.
It's like that, yeah. Alrighty, letter of state of Maine regarding alcohol sales in Baldwin.
I don't know if you folks read this in detail, but this is a letter from the state, Bureau of Alcoholic Beverages and Lottery Operations, Division of Liquor Licensing and Enforcement. And apparently there's a public law that says we have to review our liquor licensing laws, and if there are any inconsistencies between people's or businesses' licenses and what we voted on at the town, we need to correct it. I think by what's the date next year? July 1st, 2022. Kind of a convoluted letter with a lot of instructions in it, but you get down to it, and basically Baldwin voted in 1972 to allow sale of malt liquor, which is beer and malt liquor, as we usually think of it, and wine for consumption off premise on days other than Sunday, and also for sale for consumption off premise on Sundays. That was in '74. So, town has voted twice to allow sale of liquor for consumption off premise. There are no other licenses voted for in town, so there's no allocation for people to sell for consumption on the premise in the town of Baldwin. Any type. Yeah. And we really don't have to do anything if you get down and read the details, unless we want to change that. And the Board of Selectmen to decide they want to sponsor a change and put it up to a vote at a town meeting, or people can put together a petition and petition the selectmen to have a change. And but at this point, the tasking is we only have to do something if we want to change. And so I just like to go on the record that as it stands now, with no push from the town, that there's nothing for the town to do. And just to be positive about it, I can draft up a letter back to this office saying, at this point, there's no change.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it won't change sometime next month, week, whatever.
Yeah, but if we do,
Yeah. Just to make sure that we positively responded.
so that would allow, if they want to start to sell wine, if they wanted to,
They can do that now.
they can do that.
I think what they were looking for was to sell for consumption on premise.
So they can, yeah.
Yeah. And the state told them, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, right.
And I think, Danielle, didn't you, offer to talk to him about what?
I left him a message to call me and gave him the information, but I thought it was just, he wanted to sell hard liquor. I didn't think he wanted to have it on the.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was looking to sell it.
Well, there's still no provision to sell hard liquor either. Beer and wine is what's allowed.
So that would have to be a separate vote.
Yeah,
If we wanted to sell hard liquor and
Yeah.
beer and wine, that's that. Okay.
Interesting that, the liquor laws have evolved a lot. I remember when I was a kid back in the '60s, the stores were closed on Sunday.
I remember the.
I don't care what you were selling, they were closed.
You won't buy no what, you won't buy no beer in this town, because there won't no beer in this town. It's a dry town.
And you and I had to wait till we were 21 to buy beer too.
But either that, if we went to Merritt's over the line.
Oh, you know the way.
Vehicles on Sunday would be, the lights would be shut off, because you couldn't buy it till afternoon time. When I was there. Alright, foreclosure update, unknown owner, River Road, Intervale, San Pond, Bishop Delicio Lane, Peak Water Trail.
Danielle said that she got some feedback, and what we'd asked for her to do is to talk to a real estate agent and get some feedback as to how to put a value on some of these. And, she said that, they just said, use your, assessed value.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They really don't have a way to know most of the stuff. And, the one on the Intervale, I just did some more research, and I think I sent an email out to you folks today. And it's a bit of a mess down there. The foreclosure, I don't know if the, tax amount is correct. The lot numbers appear to be incorrect. So I think some of that needs to be updated and sorted out before anything happens there.
Yeah, yeah.
The Pequawka Trail one, Danielle has made some contact with the foreclosed owner, and we may have them come in and talk to us.
Okay.
Does he want to take a day off from work to do that? He says he's trying to get his finances squared around.
They wanna do it Friday if you guys are available.
I would say do it. Some of these discussions can be fairly lengthy.
Again.
So it'd be good to get it sorted out.
Get it behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get half of these behind us, we'll be doing good.
So I think the owner unknown one is just a decision as to whether to advertise it now or try to spend some more money and get quick claims from all the numerous known descendants.
Yeah.
The River Road one, I think, is probably okay to,
Eric has comment on that call made. He was concerned with the right-of-way across the railroad.
Oh, yeah.
He said that can get very complicated.
who said that?
Paul House.
Oh, yeah. We talked about the Intervale one, the Sand Pond one. I don't see anything that's really tricky there. And then Bishop Delicia Lane, we're still waiting for MMA to give us a legal read on that one.
That's the one that you want them to maintain insurance on it.
Right.
And once you go back, yeah, I agree with that.
About where we stand now.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, beat down. Kind of the opinion of those three, the unknown owner of the River Road and the San Juan one, is that we decide on the sale price, and then how are we gonna do it? Are we gonna take bids here, or are we gonna, put it with a real estate agent? Something to think about when I think the next step.
Yeah, yeah.
I think if we're gonna put it up for bid, if we're gonna do it ourselves, we ought to have minimum bids.
Right, yeah.
You know, not,
If you,
Yeah, right.
your set value.
Yeah, yeah.
As a minimum bid, yeah.
But do you really wanna do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you get more coverage if you put it with a real estate agent, but I'm not sure.
the way the market is right now, though, that everybody's looking for land.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, well, together something, a suggested price, we can hash those out.
Okay.
And then we can decide the next step, whether we farm it out or do it ourselves.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, one of these is 53 acres.
Yeah.
I think the other one is, what, 19 acres?
Yeah.
And this one here, the sand pond, I believe is .45 acres, but it's a back lot also.
Yeah.
So you're gonna table it and talk about it at the workshop tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll figure out, we're making progress.
That's wild. Anthorville Pines access to Anderson Lawn, we really haven't discussed too much on that, we really don't know what it's gonna be doing up there, so. What do you guys think?
I don't think that we can do anything.
I don't think so either.
Just table it for now.
Yeah, maybe we gotta look into the land up there too, for combining some of those,
Yeah, it gets to be a real mess when you do it.
do that, yeah.
I mean, that might be something for a longer term goal, but it's not specifically for this issue.
Okay.
I would just table it.
Okay. Lawnmower for Randy, Rocky Valley baseball schedule, we got that. Lawnmower for Randy,
We'll have to talk to Brian tomorrow when we meet, see if we can get that over here so we can.
it's over in the,
Well, I don't know if it's not ever in the old town garage up in West Baltimore.
okay, yeah.
The wintertime, they usually put it up fire on the trailer.
Okay. That's how it's still up here in the shed.
I got a comment on, I talked to Randy yesterday, and this is his last week with the school. So, he's gonna show up, Monday morning to work on the sensors, and he just wants to talk to us on scheduling, he'd like to start at 10 hours, because he's done with the school.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was something wrong with the lawnmower, we needed to buy a new one.
No, we bought a new deck last year for it.
Yeah.
Because the old one rotted out and stuff, and then it welded together, and it held together all, but that could fly apart in, but we've got the new deck already installed.
Okay. Request for track removal on Sand Pond, did you get a quote on that, Danielle? You did. How much would they, is it 200?
$100?
$100 to haul it away? I think it'd be just as easy to have them haul it away for $100. You know, dispose of it. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna overlook that, it does look like it's on town property, so it's not in the right of way.
Well,
Yeah.
problem is, if we do it for one, we're gonna have to do it for all.
Yeah. I know, well, yeah, you're right. Wasn't really. Maybe I'll ask my father if he swing down by there, grab it, pick it up, and then on the way to the dump. Try it. The transfer station every Friday, so maybe swing down around.
He's loaded both ways.
Well, they say something for him over there about a good stuff.
Yeah.
For the.
I've seen him over there picking stuff up.
Yeah.
I mean, I pick stuff up over there.
His eyes are this big when you walk around over there.
I pick up good stuff for you over there, Bob. I see Debbie at the dump, and I have the truck.
Thank you.
And that's where they get most of the stuff we all deal with yard sales.
Yeah. I got a snowmobile over there.
You did? Wow, they got a, the rug, somebody threw out a rug over there. So my father brought it home, and our neighbor, Gene, he kind of dabbles in antiques. So he goes, let me take a look at that. And, he's looking at it, let me take a look at the guy's corner, and let him look at it. And he did, and come to find out it was a Persian rug.
Yeah.
And the guy could tell what tribe it came from, even.
Wow.
So this rug was about $600. So the guy kept it and sold it for the auxiliary. He kept half, they kept half, and it was $300 profit for the auxiliary.
Wow. That's cool.
Some rug that somebody threw out.
And if you want to fix it, you can take it to this modern rug in there in Westbrook, and they'll make it look like a brand new rug.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll check with them, see. Think about it, fix that out. Community solar power review. I really don't know. I haven't read it.
Well, what they do is, they've reviewed our bills, and they said, other than the street lights, our billed electricity is eligible for the 15% discount. And if we sign up, it'll save us $727. But why not?
Sure.
What's the catch?
I know.
Debbie could give us that, she's the only one access to, because our streetlights have so much wattage for so many hours used.
Yeah.
That's how we build on those.
And now we put in the LED light.
Should cut it down.
Should cut it down.
Yeah, he looked at all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's in his letter, and,
Yeah.
like I say, he said based on, discounting the streetlights issue, that based on the rest of our bills, it looked like that's what we should say.
Okay.
15% discount.
Do you guys get streetlights up by your house? No, there's no streetlights? Joe, you up by your house?
No.
You,
Yeah, across the street by the old Grange.
yeah, have they got the new ones up by now?
I didn't notice. I know there were trucks there 3 weeks ago, maybe? Maybe they have them.
Yeah. Well, you'll notice right off quick, because they're all LED, they're a little square box on top of the pole and stuff, so.
I'll take a look.
I know East Baldwin's pretty much done, Old Baldwin is pretty much done, and I don't know, have they done that yet?
They don't come my way yet.
Yeah, so they're still
Are they
working.
planning to do West Baldwin?
Yep.
Wherever there's streetlights, the old Cobra heads
Oh,
will come
okay.
down.
Not on Senator Black.
No, not put up new ones.
Oh, thank goodness.
We haven't got that far yet.
Don't bother.
For the,
Contract, they ask you guys to sign if you want to move forward with it, I believe. Maybe that was just a draft, so.
Yeah, yeah. Both my neighbors have yard lights on. What did that for?
Looks like a draft, because it's got Nate Coleman in there.
So this contract, that'll be
Oh, that's, yeah, so then,
I don't, I feel like it's
subscriber, yeah,
daylight
it's
outside,
testing.
in a while. Never had that before.
I would move that we sign up for it. And Danielle, get us the proper forms to sign. $700.
$700 is good enough, is anybody else?
Yeah. You're right. All in favor? Let's see. Staff meeting Wednesday, May 5th.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock tomorrow, yep. Planning board meeting May 13th, at 7 p.m. This will be in person at the office.
Are you guys going in the gym, Matt, or are you going in the planning board room? We have a new camera like that installed in the gym now, so hopefully that will give you guys a better recording.
Great.
All right, public question and comment. You guys got something?
Any chance we can get something to help get the road up there more reasonably secure rather than washing away with every rain? I mean, we're talking about, money coming out of the government for infrastructure. I mean, certainly a road that has had ditches, culverts, et cetera, just letting it go and wash away.
It's got to be somebody that knows something about grant writing and could write a grant for infrastructure that could maybe give us the road back. And that way,
Any grants out there, Daniel?
we wouldn't have to
You know, if any,
take it out of the, there's got to be some, somewhere.
will we put that out and let, will the,
Maybe if we
River Road?
publicize it, somebody would show up, but I sort of doubt that.
the River Road to be assessed?
Well, we still got that ongoing issue with the river roads.
Yeah.
And, we could do a similar thing for Saddleback, I think.
I think it'd be a good idea.
The school has gotten a lot of the grants, and the health center has gotten a lot of money from the grants.
Yeah, we've applied for 2 grants
Have
here.
gotten, saying, huh?
We've applied for 2 grants here, and in the last 3 years, we got 0. You know?
You've got to know, I guess, know.
It's a new administration, should be getting something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the infrastructure bill hasn't been
It
passed.
hasn't passed yet, no.
So we don't know what might come from it.
So it's a better time now to think about it.
But, Danielle and I talked today about what might be available in any of this COVID relief package for the municipalities to apply for directly.
I mean, the 5 weeks that the road was closed were not much different than the 1 week it's been open now. Wherever there's a grade, it's washing. Wherever it's flat, it's inundated with water. Ditches are full, no drainage.
And it's gonna rain tomorrow.
Danielle's going to contact MMA and see what they know in terms of any avenues that local municipalities can apply directly for grants or monies, or if there's anything set aside for local municipalities. So far, I think it's all being directed through the state. And, if you listen to the school budget briefing,
I do that.
yeah, what's available to the school is not,
It's very different.
it's different, and it's different in that it's
Entirely
not giving you
different.
money for what you currently do, it's for what you might do in the future, kind of a thing. It's, so,
But I
there
was
was no
just
money.
thinking that this may be an opportunity that we haven't really given a thought to.
No, okay, we're talking about it today, so we're trying to see if there is some avenue out there for, local road funding.
That's all, basically all we want to see,
Yeah.
Has it been filed, and it might be a source of money that.
Do the same thing we're doing for the River Road.
Yeah.
Assess that and see what it would take to build it up, or.
What the river road's gonna require is an engineering,
Yeah.
study to,
Maybe at the same time, they could look at that.
good,
Maybe it's gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Well, we got the road over with, Ryan Fenson lives too.
Yeah,
We got 3 of them.
Yeah,
That's just on the other side of the mountain.
yeah, yeah.
With this federal funding, this building is in desperate need of repair as well. So hopefully maybe some of it would cover that. This end of the building is leaking and it's in bad shape,
I noticed the other day that, yeah, the
so,
boards are rotten.
yep.
Something else to look at.
Have a list,
Have a look.
priority list, I guess, you
Priority,
guys will
yeah.
have to look at it.
Yeah.
I guess while we're at it, if any of you have seen the school budget that Carl has put forward, I think it's available for you to look at on the school website. And Baldwin came out with a high percent increase, in funding, although we are not the largest.
Again.
We're not the largest contributor, Parsonsfield is. I'm convinced the reason the increase was so significant this time was our reval.
Yeah. It was the same thing last year, Bob.
It wasn't as bad last year. This year was
And,
more of a spread between the other.
4.6% to like 2.1.
Yeah.
But we're still not the biggest contributor, but, you know, if people see an increase, I believe we're going to need to have a special town meeting sometime mid-June to early July to rearrange some of the budget numbers. We didn't get an audit report until the day of the town meeting, and that gave us some better numbers to work with, so I think we'll be all right this year. We do need to get approval from the townsfolk to shift some money around. But the other thing I would say is, with the solar farms going in, the assessment of, Baldwin's assessment will go up. And so our overall assessment compared to other towns will probably go up unless they're doing similar things. And, the theory is that we will come out ahead, not a lot, but some. Because when you increase your assessed value, the town says, or the state says you have greater ability to pay. And so you get to pay more for the schools, and you get lower reimbursement with revenue sharing from the state. And of course, your county assessment goes up as well. So everything I've read is you may be able to recoup 20% of your increased tax revenue. Because a lot of it gets clawed back. So. But it's better than nothing.
So that's what we can do for it. We'll certainly look into it.
Thank you.
At the same time we're doing the River Road, Mountain Road, and Yard Road. I think those are the three major ones that
I was up on your road last Tuesday.
really need serious looking at. Well, yeah, we haven't forgotten about you.
We just make sure.
You folks got anything? What's that?
Say again?
You got anything?
Oh, I have a question about, cause we live on Pickpocket Trail in West Baldwin, right next to the church, and, I want to ask if there's what we can do about, speed limit reinforcement? Cause, I mean, it's a 40 there, but people usually go at least 50. And, I mean, it's obviously we knew we were buying a house right on the main road, but I feel like, I think in the 7 months we've been living here, we've seen once, a cop right by the church entrance, and if there's any way
to increase that?
To increase that, or any way to maybe ask if it could be lowered, the speed limit, to maybe, I don't know, 30, 40, 35, to at least, I feel like psychologically, if you see if speed limit drops from 50 to 30 or 35,
they'll go.
slow down a lot more. But,
There have been a lot of, I mean, I know where you live and I taught school at this school for a long time, so I had to go right by, right down by, and let me tell you, I went 40.
yeah,
And there were police officers there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
were.
There were.
Yeah.
and I mean, I do the same, and when it gets to 40 and I go 40, people are up on my
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
And like I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
So I was wondering where can I start, or we can start, or what to do, because it's, yeah.
Sorry, just to interject real quick, there was an accident there.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure you
that's
guys
right.
know about it, right across from our house, and that whole
On the
guardrail
driveway.
is pushed in.
Recently?
It was end of January, mid-end January,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
straight down.
Yeah, that whole guardrail on the opposite side is just falling in.
That's
That's a state problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
and the state, they regulate the speed limit.
Yeah.
On all roads, even small roads, which sometimes I don't get.
No, I don't, I mean, we asked for a speed survey on some roads, like Fremont Avenue. I don't know, you know where that is?
No.
Before you get to the whistle stop, the road that swings off to the left and goes
Okay.
over towards San Juan.
Yes, yes.
They've got that at 45 miles an hour. You know, and myself, I think it should be 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But that's what the state has it at.
But they got going by Exeter to 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes no
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't, yeah.
Well, we do have a new deputy in
I
town.
can email the sergeant that we've been talking to, seems very responsive so far, and then let him know the issue.
Is he the one who's going to be joining the next meeting?
Yeah.
Is that the workshop, is that public?
Yep.
Can we come to that?
You can come to that,
Okay.
yep.
And it will be, on the website and Facebook page that it will be on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That works.
I'll
Thank you.
take it on him.
Actually, I could probably help you. You can get Brian. Brian could take some of the boulders that are on Beacon Road that you have to drive around.
Yeah.
Just put them on 113 and they will slow down.
Yeah.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
That's good, yeah.
I don't know, Matt, they may think it's a challenge.
That's a great idea.
We do have a speed sign as well that we're waiting to get hooked up, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we can use that on a state road though. No.
We can definitely find out.
Yeah.
The DOT gave us the sign, so.
That's what they're doing in Steep Falls Village right now. They've had some problems down there. The sheriff's department's rolled out that speed limit sign and stuff.
Maybe you can, request the one from Cumberland County. I think that's what that is, you know?
Yeah, it is.
From Cumberland County.
We can do a speed sign request, but maybe ask Brian tomorrow where they are at.
Yeah.
We have our own speed sign.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny, I just remembered the first day when we moved in, or the next day when we moved in, I saw a truck parked right in front, DOT, I guess, in front of our driveway, and I, came over and was like, asked what they're doing, and they said somebody changed this speed limit sign. They put a 50 on the 40, and they were changing it.
Really?
Yes. And that's insane.
You've never heard that.
Yeah.
We've got spare 50 signs staying around.
We stole it somewhere and put it on. I was like, well, thank you for fixing that. I wonder how long that was up though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
We must have stole it from somewhere else.
I think there's one missing on right when you pass Worcester Stop and people.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there is.
It is empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Mystery solved.
Yeah.
I should become a.
Mary, you got anything, or you probably?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, it's very interesting. I thank you guys for doing all this work. It's a
Thank
lot of
you.
work to do this, I
Yeah.
can tell.
Yeah, thank you.
I seem to, have the little pines thing.
Yeah, you wanna keep on top of that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do.
Good. Kathy?
No, I just miss you guys.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This is a night out, right? I am. Yeah, okay. I know. Nobody's been fed at my house yet, but
We can't
okay.
serve liquor.
Anything?
I just want
wanted to hear about the trail system.
Oh, okay.
And actually, on a positive note about snow machines, when we used to walk down at the campground, before it was a campground.
Yeah.
I used to take my dog down there every day because the snow machines ran up and down the road and kept it tacked down. And I could go for miles in there.
Yeah.
It was great. But, but the kids that ran the snow machines around there were very respectful too, because they'd see me coming and they'd all slow it down and pat the dog.
Yeah.
You know, they were really nice kids, so.
Well, the ones that ride down the quarry, even recently, have been very nice.
Yeah, all the kids have been great around here.
Yeah.
Good, good.
I can't say anything bad about them.
No, I did get told by a kid a few years ago, you could get up to 110 miles an hour going past my house.
We don't know those kids.
The road, Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Going past your house
On 113.
On 113, all right. Is it
So
so?
I find snow machine people have been very respectful to me too.
Yeah, they usually are, yeah.
I've cross-country skied the railroad tracks and had them stop to let me go by.
Yeah,
You know, very-
I think the snowmobile clubs around here are very active. That's quite a lot.
Yeah. And they wanna make sure that they can continue
Yeah.
using the land.
Well, they know they're depending on the landowners to let them use the land,
Yeah.
so they better be nice.
Yeah, yeah,
And it pays off all the way around.
yeah. Kathy, you got anything?
I'm good.
Okay. Matt?
Wes already gave me a copy, and one of the things I wanted to bring up was that in the April 8th minutes of the planning board, it was, what Wes said he was gonna, report regarding any deficiencies to the selectmen about Nature's Wilderness on or around May 1st, when the campground's scheduled to open, and I think he's got that
I have some copies for them.
report for you.
Okay, all right, good.
Here it is, you get an advanced report for midnight reading. I'll give it to the planning board very soon.
Yeah, can we have a copy?
Is it open?
Is the campground open?
Is it open?
Well, yeah, I think it is, because I had strange people, well, not strange, I had some very nice people walking down the middle of my road with the dog, this past weekend. And of course, my dog went out to meet them, and they were nice, but there were people I'd never seen before, so I think they're open. There's also been a couple of cars that have been by without a state prop plates. I don't know whether they should be open, but that's another whole thing. Hopefully it's gonna be sold by somebody that knows the real ropes about how to run a campground and respect neighbors.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
That's the most important.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Jill has a complaint against me. I'm gonna ask him if he can sit in on this case, so we get it first chance to second chance.
Kristen never did call the state.
No, we got 2 days. We haven't bugged Matt in a long time. Let's just go to planning board meetings. I guess my one comment would be that I would hope that everything that the planning board has asked for has been done, and, that he is open legitimately.
Yeah,
Oh.
You know what one for that?
Yeah.
How long you folks been living in town?
October sixth is when we
Oh,
moved in.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You lucked out this year. That's the week of Freiburg Fair.
Oh, yeah.
Traffic is about 50% what it usually is.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see, if they have the fair this year, you'll certainly see traffic.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Put a lemonade stand out.
Yeah.
I know.
We're thinking about putting like a live fence around, like Arbor Decay or something. For the noise and also my dog. Oh no, he's very good. He doesn't run across the road or anything, but he likes to look over, and I don't want to wait for the day until he sees something and then. But he's been good so far. And also the noise going down. So hopefully that's. Was it? No, not Arbor Vitae. What was he recommending?
Yeah, I think so. Some hedge, I don't know.
Canadian something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Something to absorb sound, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good shrubbery. Shrubbery does a lot of.
Yeah.
Anything else, Matt?
Well, you know, I read the report, and, the one thing is that the issue that had a lot of discussion at the 4/8 planning board meeting was the number of acres in Nature's Wilderness is 492, okay? And, there have been some issues with sale or transference of some of those acres, and one of the conditions that David in particular was very adamant about in the CUP, because his concern was that if you allow any CUP holder that has acreage like that to sell off, you know, you could wind up with a subdivision. Okay, and one of the things that needed to be further discussed is, are all of those 492 acres that were specified and circumscribed in the CUP going to be transferred in the sale to the new owner from California? And if they are not, if there's anything less than 492 acres, then Nature's Wilderness is really in violation of their CUP, and, you know, there's a risk that the CUP won't transfer to the new owners, because, you know, CUPs travel with the land.
Right, yeah.
And one of the things that it said in the minutes is that Wes was gonna consult with the, law firm that's handling this transaction to let them know that that issue exists. I don't have a resolution on that issue, but, we're gonna try and get it on the agenda for the, next planning board meeting, even though we have Glenvale and finalizing their conditions and everything. This Nature's Wilderness issue has some urgency, you know, so Wes and I were coordinating, and we're gonna try and, even if we have to end the discussion on Glenvale a little early so we can get this Nature's Wilderness discussion in, because I understand that, this law firm, wants to present some things or discuss some things regarding the, transfer, and the acreage. So, that's the.
Man, I have a question for you. When was the CUP signed?
CUP was
Before the
signed,
church was
last,
29th or something, either the 21st or the
Yeah, the very end of, May last year.
June.
June,
Beginning of
because
June.
he was out of compliance when he had the fireworks on
Right.
June 3rd.
Yeah, it was just before.
Yeah,
before.
yeah. You know, and as long as you're bringing up acreage, I noticed on the Facebook page, that they're talking about HEBs being able to utilize almost 900 acres of land, which I thought in the CUP has relegated the campground as the area for the HEBs. But I wasn't gonna bring any of this up because I was so positive about the rail program that I was it'd be nice for you guys not to have to listen to me.
I'll just say that, it's not 492, it's, if you go to the CUP on line 695, it says 462.
462, that's probably a typo on my part.
But just before that, in May, Nature's Wilderness provided to us and the planning board, I think, I just found this in our records, it came through Danielle, a survey, completed in May of 2020 of Nature's Wilderness Resort. And I went through and added up the acres and it comes to 425. So, I don't know.
I want to agree
I
with you,
think you had
Bob.
the same question, is what's the right number?
I want to agree with you, Bob. The planning board asked multiple times for a survey. And the only survey I saw that got submitted with the application was the 1995 Garner Way survey. I haven't seen this, if there's a new survey of the whole property.
I think it went to the planning board, but I'll have to check and see.
I didn't see it, but I would say that I bought 16 acres from them on warranty, by warranty deed, and they gave me a, quitclaim deed on a further 16 acres.
Yeah.
The 16 acres that I bought by warranty deed is labeled on the Garner Way survey as 29 acres. So I think there's a problem, there's a serious problem with the survey that is part of the application that.
Yeah, there's other stuff, and I don't know,
Yeah.
there's some disconnect there.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
We'll try to sort it out.
yeah, we'll see what the law firm that's handling the transaction of the sale is gonna present. Wes was explaining to me that Nature's Wilderness, the heirs of Scott, want to sell or transfer 79 acres to the aunt around a 6-acre property where they had a house built for at the end of Beacon Road or something like that. So we'll have to see what the proposition is, what they're recommending, what they want to explain to us, and then determine what impact it has on the existing CUP and whether that is valid to be transferred along with the land.
Okay.
Did I get that right, Wes?
Basically, I'd rather not say anything. I have access to sensitive information that's confidential with the attorney handled on Thursday.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
You got anything else, Matt, or anything else?
No, other than, David told me that this job would increase my sense of self-importance and fulfillment. I'm still waiting.
Did he keep a straight face when he said that?
Well, at least you can laugh about it. Well, you got anything?
No, just the report that I gave you.
Okay. Bob, you got anything else? Dwight? No.
I would then move move that we go into executive session. So, MRSA